Welcome to Joy in Our Town. I'm your host today, Jan Myers. And today we're going to talk about youth issues. And we got two very special guests with us, Patrick and Brittany Everett. Welcome to the program, you guys.
Thank you. A joy to be here with you guys.
I'm glad you're here. Well, Young America Ministries is the name of your organization. And tell us a little bit about what you guys do. Go ahead first, Patrick.
I'm the ministry director along with my wife, Brittany. And we handle anything that involves ministry as far as benevolence, Bible studies, funerals, weddings, just hospital visits, whatever the families that we serve need, we serve them in need, and that's our ministry.
Okay, and what about you?
I am basically his assistant, I guess you could say, assistant ministry director, and I've been there for, I think this is going on 11 years now, so most of my life.
Wow, so you guys wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
sure.
ma'am.
Wow. Okay, how about give us a little bit of history of the organization?
Young America was started in 2004. The co-founders were Wes Williams and Nathan Cravatt. Wes Williams has been in the buy here, pay here, and rental business, dealing with a lot of people who are at risk, who kind of fit the people we serve, who are living paycheck to paycheck, at risk, spiritual poverty. And God laid it on his heart that he needed to minister wherever he was at. And so Wes started praying, and him and his wife Keela started a benevolence type ministry, but they found out very quickly that these people needed more than just physical needs. They needed the gospel. They needed heart change and the spiritual needs. Wes, however, was not a preacher, and he said, that's not my calling. And at about the same time, Nathan Cravatt, his father ran boys' homes in Georgia, and so he grew up in an environment with at-risk teens and youth, and God started laying it on his heart to get involved with at-risk youth and teens, and God allowed both of them to cross their paths, and Young America was birthed with just taking a truck and a pop-up tent and snow cones and popcorns and a guitar and going into neighborhoods and going where at-risk teens and youth were at and sharing the gospel of Christ with them.
Wow. So would you say one of the biggest issues that caused them to start the organization was broken families?
Broken families, just seeing a need of people who lived broken lives, of just spiritual brokenness, relational brokenness, physical brokenness, and even, just a continual cycle of poverty, abuse, and neglect. And they saw that, and God obviously knew that and led them to start Young American Ministries.
So the youth that you serve, they're into all kinds of risky behaviors.
They are into every risky behavior you can imagine. We have youth that are caught up in an identity crisis, which, leads to risky behavior. Jesus in Matthew 7, he gave two different men, two different foundations. One was sand. Sand is something you can make anything out of. Sand is something that can become anything. And it's whatever you dream it is, you can make sand out of it. And what that does is it just causes you to go with whatever's around you. And these kids have been in this cycle of risky behavior. These kids have seen their friends and their peers make poor choices. Their families make poor choices. And so they just, like sand, and go along with the flow. And so teenage pregnancy, gender identity issues, same-sex attraction, drugs, alcohol, sex trafficking, whatever you can think of in your worst nightmare for your own children, would be what they're at risk and exposed to. And we at Young American Ministries believe that heart change comes through the gospel. The other man Jesus spoke of built his life on a rock. And if you've ever seen rock climbers, you can anchor anything into a rock. And a rock is solid, a rock never changes, a rock gives you stability, and a rock is something that you can build upon. And that's what we teach these kids at Young American Ministries, is to build their life upon the rock that is Jesus Christ.
Wow. Now, we're not trying to leave you out.
No.
So I can see that you're the helpmate here and probably do an awful lot of things. So you do a lot of organizing for the ministry?
Yes, organizing meal donations, volunteers that come. I do a lot of the coordinating for that. Maintenance for the website and Facebook page. We try to keep our sponsors and volunteers up to date on what the kids are doing that week, because a lot of people, because of our schedule, they can't come out and physically be there, but they give in other ways, and they like to be able to know what's going on. And so I handle that aspect of it.
Yeah, because as I was going to say, is how can the community help?
They can come to our actual facility and volunteer. We have Bible clubs on Mondays and Tuesdays. We have elementary age group on Mondays, teenagers on Tuesday nights. They can volunteer to serve food. Just hanging out, building relationships with our kids is something that's really needed because there's so few of us and so many of them that it's hard to get the one-on-one attention that they really need. And so that is something that's helpful. We also do sports leagues, usually in the spring, summertime, basketball, soccer leagues, things like that, and so they can volunteer in those ways. There's a lot of different opportunities.
Okay, now you're saying facility, do you have more than one place where you meet?
We have a community center on Cairn Drive in Ringgold, and it's right outside of a main trailer park that we work in, and a lot of our kids walk up there, but we also run several bus routes and bring kids from other neighborhoods in. So we have that facility, and then we're beginning a new one that you can talk about.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, our goal is long-term discipleship before we go into trend, long-term discipleship. And so a lot of our kids start in that Cairn Drive area, but we have 6 van routes that go out on Tuesday, and we have 2 that go out on Monday. And our goal is to, as we begin the relationship, introduce these kids to the gospel, to stay involved with their lives long-term, as long as it's feasible. So we literally pick up from Brainerd through Eastlake, through Rossville, to Fordo, Ringgold, and East Ridge. And so we literally do our very best to stay in touch with these kids, stay in connection with these kids, because if you can build a relationship with these kids, you have the opportunity to change their lives.
Wow. And then we were also talking earlier off camera, you're branching out to...
Yes, we're starting in Trenton. We're in Dade County area. We have just felt the need that there are pockets, especially pockets of populations that probably go a little more under the radar in that area. But there is a need for the gospel. There's need for ministry in that area, and we just have been prayed and feel led to start out in that area. And we're actually going to take our teens who we have discipled in the Ringgold area and the Rossville area that we serve, and take those kids and let them be the physical laborers to go out and knock on doors, to hand out food, to serve hot dogs and snow cones, and enable us to be able to teach the gospel, and those kids build the relationship and help have a positive impact on the kids in Dade County and Trenton. Wow,
and that's going to really help the kids, your kids, to help other kids.
Absolutely. It's one of the things that we try to teach them, is that we know in Ephesians that God, He saved us, but He saved us not only for salvation and called Him to Himself, but He saved us to good works, and those good works are a life purpose. Those good works are the purpose that He saved us, is to bring other people to His knowledge, to make disciples who make disciples. And so those kids are going to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And we know that if we give kids a purpose and an identity, which Christ gives us identity and purpose, that they will be people who stay involved with Jesus for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, because that was going to be the next thing I was going to ask you. How do you keep them involved? Do you do mission projects or...
We do mission projects. We are using them to start the Trenton branch, but we also go to Memphis. And we go to a camp called Merge, and it merges life and missions together, and it teaches them how to be missionaries in their day-to-day lives. And we go out and do labor projects in Memphis, and the kids absolutely love it. We took 25 kids last year, and they actually made the newspapers and the news. They did such an awesome job that they actually got rewarded, and it was great to see them get rewarded and recognized for their hard work, because these are kids who come from families where hard work is not really the norm, where dedication and commitment is not something they see in their day-to-day lives. So for these kids to go out and be dedicated and work out in the Memphis Delta, heat and sweat, see me over in the corner, I'm drenched through it, I'm just drinking a bottle of water and throwing stuff on my face, and they're out laying it down. And to see them not only rewarded in the fact that they made the paper and made the news, but to get that feeling that, hey, I'm making a difference. My life matters. They live in a world that tells them that, what you look like, what you wear, what you have is what matters. And perception is more important than who you are in reality as a person. And for them to experience the joy of serving others is something that they take with them. And I believe it's something that helps motivate their choices for the future.
Yeah, that's an important life lesson for them to learn, and they learn it through serving, don't they?
Absolutely. You know, Jesus himself said the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others and give his life as a ransom for many. So when you get a young person who realizes their purpose and their identity in Jesus and understand who Jesus is and understand his mission was to serve others, and they get on board with that, you have someone that is going to be a servant and is going to make a difference in others' lives.
Okay, so what ages do you serve or allow?
We serve from the womb to great-grandparents. Our Monday kids clubs have ages 3 to 11. Our Tuesday teenage groups are 12 to 18. We have men's mentoring and women's Bible studies, and then we also work with teenage moms too.
Wow. So then your little Bible clubs and then things like that reaches out to other kids that helps them to do more outreach in the community?
Yeah, and one of the things we teach our kids is as long as we have room on buses, we'll pick up your friends. And so we teach these kids to reach out to others. And our Monday Kids Club normally has 50 or 60 kids. And then our Tuesday is the same, 50 to 60. We've had 80 teens. We've had 70 little kids come in. It just, as they move out and move in, these people are very transient. Our numbers fluctuate a little bit here and there. But we teach these kids, listen, what you're experiencing here, God wants others to experience. And so your life change and your heart change, God wants to do for others. And he wants to use you as the primary conduit to do that. I like how, I believe it was Billy Graham once said that before God will move others, he'll move you first. And so we teach these kids that they're to have that mission and driven for purpose.
And we were talking about you do partner with other agencies.
Yes, we partner, for instance, with Chattanooga Sports Ministries to do soccer in the summer. They come down to our facility. We bring the kids. They minister to the kids. They teach them soccer. We play games in their leagues, and they have a great curriculum they use, and they're just an awesome ministry. We partner with Georgia DFACS partners with us, Northwest Georgia Community of Hope, Georgia Hope is involved, and they help fill in some of the gaps we can't, offering parenting classes, drug and alcohol abuse classes, and counselings when they use our facilities on a lot of Thursdays. And so they are filling in the gaps. We understand that heart change comes from a relationship with Jesus Christ, but there's also other areas of need that they can fill in and help make us a more well-rounded organization and able to minister better and change and see more change in the families.
That's great. Okay, so we have less than a minute left. How can people get in touch with you if they want their kids to be involved?
Well, honey, go ahead.
You can check out our website, youngamericanministries.com, or check us out on Facebook at Facebook/Young American Ministries, and all of our contact information is on there.
Okay, well, thank you. I really appreciate you both joining us today. We've learned a lot about what's going on with youth in our area. And we just be praying that God will continue to bless and grow your ministry. And we'll have you back to keep us informed.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. And thank you today for joining us on Joy in Our Town.